You're listening to Natural British English, and today a metaphor commonly used in the UK. Paper over the cracks. There's a vocabulary checklist for this video below in the description, so don't forget to have a look after watching or listening. People use this phrase at work, in the news, in everyday conversation, and even when talking about personal life. Understanding this metaphor is not just about language. It's also about understanding British culture, British habits, and British ways of thinking. The metaphor is a way to explain one idea by using another idea. Instead of saying something directly, people use an image. This image helps listeners understand feelings, attitudes, or situations more clearly. And in British English, metaphors are everywhere. They help people speak politely, indirectly, and sometimes humorously. The phrase papering over the cracks comes from buildings and houses. Imagine an old wall in a house. Over time, cracks appear in the wall. These cracks show that there is a real problem underneath. Instead of fixing the wall properly, someone puts wallpaper over. The wall looks nice again, but the cracks are still there. Nothing is really repaired. So this metaphor means hiding a problem instead of solving it. It describes a situation where something looks fine on the outside, but underneath there are serious issues. In British culture, this idea is very powerful. British society often values calmness, politeness, and not making a scene. Because of this, problems are sometimes avoided rather than faced directly. The metaphor fits this cultural habit very well. People might use this phrase when talking about a company. A business might have money problems, poor communication, or unhappy workers. Instead of changing how the company works, the managers might make small changes that look good to the public. New posters, new slogans, or a new website might appear. The real problems remain. In this situation, people say the company is papering over the cracks. The phrase is also used in politics. In the UK, newspapers often say the government is papering over the cracks when leaders make quick fixes instead of long-term solutions. For example, giving short-term support without changing the system underneath. The phrase sounds critical, but not aggressive. This matches the British style of criticism, which is often indirect. In everyday life, the metaphor is just as common. People use it to talk about relationships, homes, schools, or personal habits. A house might look beautiful, but the roof leaks. A relationship might look happy, but there are serious communication problems. A student might seem confident, but struggles are hidden underneath. In all these cases, the idea is the same. The surface looks fine. The foundation is weak. Learning metaphors like this helps English learners understand how British people really think and speak. Literal translation is not enough. Without metaphors, conversations can sound flat, robotic, or too direct. Metaphors add colour, emotion, and a shared understanding. British people often prefer understatement. Instead of saying something is very bad, they might say it is not ideal. Instead of saying someone failed completely, they might say that we're papering over the cracks. This softer language allows criticism without open conflict. Knowing this helps learners avoid misunderstandings. Using metaphors also helps learners feel more confident socially. When someone understands and uses expressions like this, they sound more natural. They sound less like a textbook and more like a real person living in the UK. This can help at work, in friendships, and in everyday conversations. Metaphors also connect language to history. Britain has a long tradition of buildings, houses, and repair. Many people live in old homes with real cracks in the walls. The image feels familiar and real. Because of this, the metaphor feels natural and strong. Another important part of British culture is humour. The phrase papering over the cracks can be serious, but it can also be slightly ironic. It often suggests that everyone knows the truth, but no one is admitting it openly. This shared understanding creates a quiet kind of humour. Learning metaphors is also about listening. When British people use expressions like this, they may not explain them. They expect others to understand the image and the meaning. By learning these phrases, English learners become better listeners and potentially better members of the community. This metaphor also teaches an important idea about life. Problems do not disappear when they're hidden. Whether in work, society, or personal life, real solutions need honesty and effort. British culture often talks about this idea using gentle language rather than strong words. Papering over the cracks is a perfect example. For English learners, understanding metaphors can feel difficult at first. The words may not make sense literally. But over time, these expressions become familiar. They start to feel natural. They become part of everyday thinking, not just language. When learners begin to notice metaphors, they start to see patterns. Many English expressions use images from daily life. Weather, buildings, food, travel, and sport are common sources. Each metaphor carries cultural meaning, not just vocabulary. It shows how language and culture work together. By learning metaphors like this, English learners move from basic communication to real communication. They begin to understand not just what people say, but what they mean. And that's the real value of learning metaphors in British English. To check the vocabulary checklist in the description. Thank you for watching, reading, or listening today. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you soon.